Welcome to the Miniatures Paintbrush, and today we're going to talk about the grand exodus of models that are getting replaced or outright out of the range for Age of Sigmar and what that means to the hobbyist.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a buildup of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never.
Welcome back, TMP fans. I come to you with a perspective and opinion and what we think about this grand exodus for Age of Sigmar, for the new Age of Sigmar that's coming out this summer. Now, although I am excited to see new miniatures, especially for the Skaven, the little rats, because they hadn't had cool new sculpts in a very long time, and actually they're due. So I'm really happy to all those people who play Skaven. But there is something that actually affects me, and I know if it affects me, it affects quite a few people in the gaming hobby, is the effect of the grand exodus. And the way I say is exodus is because the models that are being replaced, some are only 3 years old. So if you bought it and even had time to paint it, you're out of luck.
Or if you spent several years perfecting the army and adding to it, and then
Honing skills.
Suddenly it's not usable anymore.
Right. Now, not usable is quite a bit of a different kind of term. And the way that GW is playing it is that there will be no more support for the model. In other words, there's not going to be any updates or updates to the points, which is really important because if you're going to play a game for competition, right? Mm-hmm. If you're actually playing, you want to make sure that the armies are as even as possible when it comes to the points. That it's very well balanced. So this way, when you have a fight, it's not really the army you pick as much as the general himself or herself that is playing on the battlefield. And that ability is what gets rewarded for winning a tournament. Okay, so the support for the point system is going to be gone, and the rewording of different abilities are going to be gone. So what happens is when GW releases a model, right? They have a tournament, like a countrywide or global tournament, and people are trying to break the game. They're trying to find out ways to cheat the game so they can win the game. And when GW sees that, they change the rules so this way you can't do that anymore or kind of use that exploit. Now, I never play to use exploits. I don't. I play the way as intended. I play just for fun. You and me get on the table. And play a game of miniature and roll some dice. I mean, that's where it's at, right? So it's not about me abusing the game so this way I can trounce you. I have a big enough ego that I can get a close game and we could both enjoy it. That's the goal there.
Yeah. So what I think I hear you saying is that you can still play with the miniatures that have been exodused, or maybe we could say forced exodus.
Now,
you can play with your friends.
There it is. You can play with your friends as long as it's not in a competitive setting. And so there's going to be this final revision of all the cards, if you will, the status cards. Excuse me. The status cards for each one of them, and then that's it. They're never going to come out with a newer version of that. So, which is kind of good because I could just print out those cards I can print it out on cardstock. We'll always just have it. And if we ever wanted to play that version of the game, just play it. Just play it. So, but there is a mass exodus for the people who do want to play in competitive games. You know where people play competitive games also, not just in tournaments.
Where?
So you go to the game shop, you don't know anybody there. You want to play a game that's kind of even, right? So that's the pickup games that people you don't know. You want a balance kind of thing, unless you're playing a narrative setting and that's what you're going into with that, which the army can be lopsided. It's just the goal that you're trying to retrieve, like get your army to deliver this package across the board and try to survive, not try to win the game. Just winning the game is trying to survive, for example, and other kind of missions like that. But if you're just pickup game, quick game, they got to tell you how many points. You put on the points down on the table. You choose the miniatures that cost a certain amount of points until you get to the point limit that you discussed, and you play a game, and you know that it's going to be balanced, or you hope it's going to be balanced, and you hope that it's going to be even, and you just throw it on the table and go. GW is actually changing things up when it comes to that. There are some Vanguard box sets, I think, and other kind of box sets where you just buy it, and that is a balanced army, a small one, and then somebody just buys this box, and you could just play it like that, and then that's this whole thing. So that's really good that GW does that. I always thought that these starter boxes or the box sets that they sell should be competitive with one another. Just buy the box and play, because it lowers the barrier of entry to the hobby in the game. And what us hobbyists want is always to have more players, because if you play a variety of people, a variety of different armies, it just makes it fun. So having that barrier of entry is good. But
having kind of a standardization of the points.
Almost. Yeah. And they're constantly trying to balance that with every kind of tournament that's going on for the country, like the Las Vegas Open, the Nova Open, all those things. They actually play GT battles that you can register for, and it's highly competitive, and people are trying to break the game. They're trying to see the errors in that. Now you see how winning at all costs could be beneficial to the one person, but the ripple effect for the hobbyist, and Games Workshops did that on purpose. They said, well, it's not our fault. You guys try to break the game. Yeah. We have to fix it, right? So we as a hobbyist, as a GT player, as people who like to play Math Hammer and break the game at all costs, win at all costs, and GW encourages that, obviously, because they can sell more miniatures that way. They can sell more versions that way. They can it's going to be constant, and they don't even blame themselves. It's not us. You're the one who did it. So you must want new versions, and which people do want. I've always thought that there has been a bit of a money grab with GW, but they are a company, so it's to be expected at that time.
That's what they do.
Yeah. But here's what I wanted to talk about. Okay. The feels bad. I'm a slow painter. And I know a lot of people who say the same, that they are slow painters. They want to do the best job that they can with their expensive miniature that they bought, right? And they want it to look really cool on the table, and they want to put their piece on and feel really proud that they did something special. And then their friends are like, oh my gosh, it's so awesome, And then you say, well, mine's awesome. Look at yours, and you put in all this effort. And that whole banter before you even play is a thing. That is part of the hobby. And I've always thought it was part of the hobby. One of the coolest things about me going to the game store in the past was I knew a group of guys there, and we would just ogle at what we painted next week. Like and that was like motivation to keep painting. Like, I got to have something next week to show the guys, so let me just get something done, So I thought that was part of the hobby too. And it's really exciting to do that. What if you are a slow painter and you just finished painting an army that you're super proud of, and you're like, I think definitely I want to paint up some evocators. I think they're kind of cool. They're like Dracoliths or something like that. This box right here, which is, pretty cool, right? That's really cool, and I want to paint those, and they look really cool, and the sculpts are relatively new compared to anything on the GW line. Well, a lot of things on the GW line. Some of the sculpts in GW lines over 20 years old. Like, they are old, and they really need to be changed. But something that's like 6 years old, 5 years old, 3 years old, You kind of just bought it. You played a couple of games with it. It's still on the shelf. You haven't got time to play in the GW store. And guess what? It is gone. It's going to Legends. You can play Legends games with it, but you're not bringing it to a tournament after this summer. So this is gone, which, it's just a box. I mean, retailing for about 60, maybe. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Do I pay full price? Yeah, no. But still, gone. The only thing I could see use of this, and they have use for them. I'm going to talk about it a little later, what you can do with those models. All right, so yeah, but that's not so bad, right? That's so what? It's just
just one box.
It's nothing. You can take that one on the chin, right? And there's this box set. Oh, yeah, where this whole half of the army.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how many models that concludes.
Probably about 40 models.
It says right here about 52 miniatures total.
Okay, so
all right,
about 26 maybe.
Yeah, something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10, 18, 20, 18, 19 models. So we got 19 models. They're now gone. This box is still brand new. I know, it's terrible. I know. I'm a slow painter. I have other projects that I'm doing. Okay, fine. But that's a starter set. It's a starter set. I mean, the starter set came out relatively, to me, it's pretty new-ish. It's like Warhammer 2.0, which was pretty good. The Necro Quake was awesome. Awesome storyline. But that's gone. But that's just, a starter box. Maybe you split that with a friend and whatever, and you got it at a discount. That's great. Okay, so we have that. And then those people that invested in things like, that.
Mm-hmm.
Going for about at least $300 to $400. Not anymore. But it was $150 when I bought it. I'll be honest, because it was before inflation. But look at those. Look at those. We have 2 evocators that are gone. This whole thing is gone. Everything. Everything is gone. The entire army is gone. Some people is going to say, "Well, it's your fault for not painting it." Maybe. They wouldn't be 100% wrong. See, I'm not an egotist. I can't say that I didn't paint it on time, therefore I deserve to get my miniatures wiped out. Deserve is a strong word. I take things in perspective. Okay, so we're not done yet. Okay. There's a couple of more miniatures that are gone. Just a couple. Like a lot of this box set. This box set came out 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah, this box set. Right.
Wow.
2 years ago. Okay? Yeah. These guys are gone.
Yeah. So people may have bought it, painted, not even had time to take it to the Nova Open, or they haven't even had time to take it to a tournament, and it's already obsolete.
Yeah, I mean, there's that.
I can see why that's created some hard feelings.
Little. This is still in the plastic. All right. Granted, it's 2-box set, and you have these guys right here, which are the tree elves, which I love. But pretty much everything in here, except for the bell, is gone. We're talking about 20 clan rats. And I believe the storm vermin, 10 storm vermin. And I believe the big guys, right? The rat ogres are gone too.
Yeah, the rat ogres are gone.
So there's that. Yeah. But yeah, Again, it could be my fault that I didn't paint them on time. It's fair. That's fair. But I won't be able to take them to tournaments anymore. That's just pretty much gone. And all the good things. Oh, and that wasn't the only thing that they got rid of. They got rid of a whole bunch of stuff like the gores and stuff like that, which I think the Minotaur, the big one, is a cool model. You know, it is a cool model. If you ever had like a Minotaur, we'll speak about that in just a bit. It is a cool model. Yeah. So, you know, Warcry. Remember these guys? All the miniatures in this boxes, except for the terrain, is unusable in tournaments. So if you go to pick up Warcry and too many brand new boxes. If you go to pick up Warcry and try to play those armies, yeah, again, pick up games.
So it seems like the people who are most affected by this are going to be the more serious table or more competitive, let's say, tabletop gamers, the people who do want to play in the tournaments. So for your regular hobbyist, what would you say is the impact for someone who maybe like me? Okay, maybe someone like me who is interested in painting minis, and let's say I'm thinking, oh, wow, I might be able to get a set cheap so I could learn how to paint. Somebody might be willing to sell me one of these sets for a lower price, and then I'll just use them to play with my friends. I don't ever plan to go to a tournament. How much is it going to affect someone like me?
And that is one of those things that I wanted to bring up. The other uses for these models, all right? So it's not all doom and gloom. Am I a little troubled that that GW is making clean sweeps out of entire model ranges that are not very new, and you've paid hundreds, maybe even 1,000 or two in and invested the time and energy to paint. Mm-hmm. And now it's just, they're kind of taking something away from you. But are they really? Now let's take a look at perspectives over here, okay? They're a company, they want to make money. If the evocators, these guys over here, are not selling, they're not making money. As beautiful as the sculpts are, and not a lot of people were buying them. Not a lot of people were buying them. We vote with our wallet.
So do you think that the Exodus is only models that were not selling very well? Is that what's behind it, you think?
Well, I think with any company, if the profit margin is just not there, that needs to be culled. Mm-hmm. So I think that the Liberators, there are so many different Liberators. That's another one. That is the core model to Age of Sigmar. In fact, I do have that guy up there is a Liberator. Mm-hmm. I got the store stand of the Liberator. So that is the core model with the hammers and stuff like that. And they're reinventing it to make them look slimmer and trimmer. Why? Because so many people have the Liberators because they were in so many boxes that everybody has one. So nobody's buying any new Liberators until now that you have the new model. Here's the thing. When you're playing Age of Sigmar or 40K and you're at your house with your friends, which is honestly the best case scenario. You got a couple of friends in and you just, throwing back some lemonade, sparkling soda and stuff. And you're just, for giggles, you're just having some fun. You're still oohing and eyeing at the miniatures that other people paint. It's fine. It's not that bad. It's just not that bad if you're a casual player. A lot of people get in their hoo-has in a bunch. Chillax. You're about here. We need to take it. Oh, I am going to trigger people right now. You're about here. We need to ditch you about here right now. And get some perspectives. Perspectives is these are little plastic toys. Ain't no way around that. Ain't no way around that. They're little plastic toys. So, there are worse things to worry about.
But would you say that some people are justified in their feelings?
Rear end hurt?
That they are justified in their feelings of, that they've been screwed over and
no.
Yes and no. Okay.
Let me explain that. Okay. So yes, because I'm in a situation where I had a lot invested in the models that are getting culled, right? So am I feeling a little sad? Yeah, at first I was a little upset, saying, wow, these models don't really need to be remade. This seems like a money grab to me. It is. GW is a company. They're going to make money. If they don't make money, they're going to fold, and then you're not going to have the pretty miniatures that you always wanted. So I don't think things that are selling are getting culled, and that's just the way it's going to be, whether they've been on sale for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, or they just came out the other day and then they cut. I mean, we seen that earlier when it came to Astra Militarum for 40K, where they came out with a starter box and everything to it and a codex and stuff like that. And months later, they killed it because they got a new edition. Like, oh, well, you're not going to be able to use this anymore. Yeah. Games Workshop is a company. They don't do things to try to help or harm us. They do things to sell their product.
So would you say that people who are entering the world of miniature painting with GW, they need to be aware that this could happen in the future?
Yeah. And it seems like this is going to be a trend. Okay. Mm-hmm. That in a couple of years, if they feel something is not selling, they're just going to cull it. And even if you liked it, if the nation didn't like it, and the country, the world didn't like it, oh, well, it's going the way of the dodo. That's just the way it is. It's going to be done. Okay. So any hard feelings for GW? No, not really. They're a company. They're doing what they're going to have to be doing. Should everyone just play Games Workshop games and that's the only games they ever play? Absolutely not. I have a lot of fun with Malifaux. There's so many other games that I like to play with you, although I am a Games Workshop fanboy only because I really do like their models, and I think they're excellent because they consider the painter when they create it. You know, they want to make sure that your experience as a painter is painless as possible. And I'm willing to shell out a couple of extra bucks in order to get that kind of quality. It's kind of easy to paint type of stuff. That's one. So looking at other game systems is healthy. It's healthy for the miniature hobby. It can't just be
They can't have a monopoly.
Thank you. I was just thinking that. That's right. We already have the Monopoly game. We don't need another one. In fact, there is Warhammer Monopoly. There is. I know there is.
Really?
Yeah, there is. There is. All right. But okay. So you can play with the miniatures and legends if you have some friends and you're not going to a tournament, which is most people. Most people don't go to tournaments. They just hobby and have some fun. Now, I've gone to a narrative tournament at the Nova Open, and that was like one of my bucket list things to do because I never usually join that. I usually just paint the miniature, go to the painting competition, check out and ogle the other people's painted miniatures, and then just say hello to some people and say, oh yeah, look, they're actually playing the game. Wow, who does that? But yeah, so I just did that, and I'm really happy with it. Aside from playing, I'm just bringing this box up because it's the smallest of all the boxes that I think I've shown you. Aside from playing this game and using the miniatures for that, you can use them in miniature agnostic games. Those are the games that have a rule set that you can use any miniatures with. They're still cool. They're still cool. And if you painted them nicely, even better. That's awesome. So exploring new games is one of the options. Another one is this role-playing game that we like to call D&D. You can actually create your own monster and use the stats of the monsters that are involved, that are in the monster manual for each one of these guys or girls. All right. With different weapons and stuff like that. And you can create one for their mounts so they can do extra damage in Ascension. And this could be an encounter. It's an encounter in a box right there. That would be a random encounter I wouldn't want to mess with. Or they could be the protagonists.
Yeah, you can create them as your character.
Yeah. Yeah, you can create them as your character, or they could be the villain, the antagonist. A set of 3 that are terrorizing a village, rogues, knights gone rogue. You can paint them in dark armor, and they could be like dark knights.
An evil paladin.
Evil paladin. Right. You can actually, thank you. You could actually have a lot of different things with it. You know, the fact that it's AOS, and this is what I love about AOS, is that it fits well in the fantasy genre. So if you're ever playing any other game that has fantasy miniatures, boom, there it is. If you're playing any of the snarling badger miniature games like Rain and Hell, These could be the good guys got trapped in hell or whatever, or they could be the Dark Knights. They can do stuff. So you can use them as monsters in that. Again, using them for other game systems. So that's another thing. Another thing you can use these models for, if somebody is new to the painting scene and really started practicing on, let's say, Reaper models and stuff like that, and they started to get some talents and they wanted a bigger challenge. Well, why not just say, hey, look, here's like 20 clan rats. Go for it, Try to paint it. If you don't like the paint job, worst thing that can happen, you could just dip it in simple green or power clean or one of those cleaning mixes, and it takes the paint right off, and you can start again. Big whoop. Or you can just paint over it.
Or use them to practice a skill, a specific skill.
Yep.
Until you've perfected it.
I have a certain set of skills. They pertain to model painting. I will use these skills. I don't know.
You have a very particular set of skills, which you improve with every model.
It's true. It's true. Okay, so these are the things that you can do with these models. Another thing you can do with these models is play an older version of your game. Mm-hmm. Nobody said you have to transfer over to the new AOS. If you like the old AOS and you haven't played it to death and you're like me, you hardly get a time to actually sit down and play a full game. So maybe in an edition, I paid 3 games. That's not worth your money, in my opinion. I want to get my mileage. There's some people who get every weekend to play a game. So they're tired of all the scenarios. They've gone through all the scenarios 3 times. I think I played 1 or 2 scenarios out of the 50 that I have in the campaign books that I bought. But
yeah, I think for probably the majority of, especially the, we'll say, adult gamers, not the ones who are teenagers and have more time to dedicate to gaming. But for a lot of us, we have jobs, maybe we have kids, spouses, family members, like, we don't get to actually explore all the different scenarios. So, for a lot of adult tabletop gamers, like they can still play the old editions and still be interested in them.
There are some, and there's a reason why there's a stereotype, some people who, beard grows right around here. Well, actually, m'lady. There's a reason.
You've been spending too much time on Reddit, my dear.
No, you haven't. You've influenced me.
Darn it. I've been called myself out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, so overall it sounds like it's not as much of a crisis as some people might be making it out to be.
No, it's not. Even me, who has a lot invested in the armies that are getting wiped out, so to speak, or Exodus or Culled, it's not the end of the world. I'm still going to paint these miniatures. I paid for them and I'm going to get my enjoyment out of them. And painting is one of the enjoyments that I get out of the hobby, whether it's in a rule set that I can take to a tournament or not. It doesn't matter. Painting is what really brings me joy. And what also brings me joy is creating painting tutorials for you guys. So hopefully you bear with me when I do a painting tutorial on these guys and the other models that you see there. And yes, I have a lot of armies, that you'll bear with me. Check it out. And what I do is not just painting the model for the model's sake. If you wanted to learn that, paint that one model, I've been doing for the last, I don't know if you've seen, hopefully if you haven't, you go over and check the videos there. My tutorial format kind of changed where I am really targeting out skills inside the painting tutorial, and you could skip to certain sections of the painting tutorial and you can learn edge highlighting and you can learn wet blending and you can learn freehand and you can learn like skills. So this way it's really honing in on my final phrase here, paint every miniature to increase at least one skill. Because that's what I'm preaching this. So I want to be able to, that you can use my models in order, use my tutorials, our tutorials. So this way you can benefit and actually improve on a skill. And it doesn't necessarily have to be on the model that I'm painting, but just in general. So I'm trying to stick to that format right there. So there it is, my 2 cents on the exodus of Games Workshop's models. Not so bad. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. So no rant over. GW is a company. If you don't like them, don't support them, and support many other wargaming games out there that are struggling because Games Workshop is such a mega giant. They're struggling. And if you have a community of different war games, if GW had competition, their prices will reflect competitive prices, and they won't charge whatever they feel like it because they have a monopoly. So pricing will go down. A lot of complaints about how GW is becoming an elitist thing, that you would have to become a starlet in Hollywood in order to afford them. That'll go to the wayside. And would that decrease the value of all the models that I have behind me? Yeah, but I'm not really intending to sell that model anytime soon. Unless I really have to. All right. Rant. Well, not really a rant, just a perspective on both GW side and the other side. You can't expect a company to cull you to sleep or to coddle you. That's not how companies work. You don't go to Microsoft and say, "Can you send me a story?" Or you don't go to Apple and say, "Can you carry me?" You don't do these things. And if you do, I'm pretty sure they'll kick you out. Although I would love to see a video of that because that would be like hilarious in my opinion. Anyway, I think it's time. It's time. Well, hopefully you enjoy this. I want to hear your opinion about how this is affecting you. If it is affecting you at all, do you have miniatures? Are you raving mad because GW is taking away something from you that you put in so much effort and time and money into? Are you okay with the change and saying, you know what, change is a part of life and it's going to happen, right? Or are you using them? Are you going to use the models for a different purpose? Are you going to play an older edition of the game, or are you just going to play Legends with your friends? Tell me what you are going to do with your models. If this is the trend that GW is going to do, is just get rid of things that are not selling. Are you going to be as loyal to GW as you currently are, or are you going to explore different kind of games and support like the smaller game companies? Let me know what you think. There's a lot to discuss. Let's have a discussion down in the chat if you can. Let's just, blow it up. Give me new perspectives. Help me understand what you're feeling. That's important to me. Tell me what your opinion is. I want to know. And how you're going to move forward with this and how you're going to move forward with Games Workshop. Speaking of which, there's this Blood Bowl team that has gnomes. Guess who likes gnomes? And, I do have a Blood Bowl team already. I've never painted it. This is when Blood Bowl first came out. I think
that might be a future video series.
Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl. All right. Tell if you'd like to see us play some Blood Bowl and paint that up. Put that down in the comments too. Let's have a whole bunch of discussion down there. All right. All right. Well, we're at the end of the video. I want to remind you, if you haven't done so already, feel free to subscribe, hit that bell notification for future content, and which is going to be future content. We're going to talk about Kill Team. I think next week we're going to talk about a little bit about Kill Team. I have 2 warbands painted up, and I'll probably showcase that. And I want to get back to the terrain series. There is a set of terrain that I want to remake. I think it does not look realistic, and I want to make it look really realistic. So we're going to talk about snowy hills. Ooh, interesting. And then finally we're going to do some, well, not finally, but then we're going to do some Warcry miniatures, which I'm going to paint. Oh no, Underworld, which I'm going to paint as well. By the way, if you've watched to the end of this video, soon to be Mrs. TMP over here, she said yes.
First Lady of TMP.
First. Remember to always have hope, even when days get dark, because you never know what life is going to bring you, and you can't see the high points when you're stuck in a valley. Things will get better. Well, with that being said, I want to remind you to paint every miniature to increase at least one skill.
And may your backlog get ever smaller.
Even if it's culled by GW.
Even if it's culled by GW.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up,